Hi, this is Jim from Safety Wars. Before we start the program, I want to make sure everyone understands that we often talk about OSHA and EPA citations, along with some other regulatory actions from other agencies, legal cases, and criminal activity. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Proposed fines are exactly that, and they are often litigated, reduced, or vacated. We use available public records, news accounts, and press releases. We cannot warranty or guarantee the details of any of the stories we share, since we are not directly involved with these stories. At least not most of the time. Enjoy the show.
This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Hello. This is Safety Wars for Wednesday, July 8th, 2026. How's everybody doing? A little bit better lighting today, I know. It is what it is. Unlike our friend of the program, Sheldon Primus, I'm always on the road. Sometimes we get good lighting, sometimes not so good lighting. So if you want to do business with us, give us a call, 845-269-5772, or email us, jim@safetywars.com. We do site work, we do training, we do all different kinds of stuff. Looking forward to seeing everybody on Monday, right, down at Jay Allen's event, down in Florida, Orlando. So I'm looking forward to reporting back to you on what the goings on are. Right? Here, let me get events. I shouldn't really set this up ahead of time, right? So here we have what's going on Monday is the reality shift. We get you there we go. Right? So please note, this is strictly a live in-person event in Orlando, Florida. Speakers will be physically presenting on the stage in the room with you. Not in front of you, with you. There is no virtual attendance or live stream available. An observational symposium. Right there we have Nick Weatherly, Todd Conklin, and Jay Allen. I've never met, to my knowledge at least, I've never met Nick Weatherly, so looking forward to meeting him. And no, this isn't going to be like a debate or anything like that. It's going to be hanging out. No, behavioral lens, looking at the mechanics of human action, VBS within those systems. Todd Conklin explores the principles of HOP, how he frames systemic reality. And then there's going to be a special visual disruption. A private screening of a high-concept documentary. Ooh, looking forward to that. So you can check that out on Safety FM right here. And, here we go. Safety FM, Hub, and then events. You can go and check that out. That's basically it. So OSHA has a lot of different programs out there for us to use. Am I getting echoed today? All right. Sorry about that, the audio. A little bit of echo. So one of them, it's actually one of my more favorite events. We have Fall Protection Week. We have this week and that week. It's ASSP or NSC. How about things? So this is August 10th through 16th, Safe and Sound Week. Safe and Sound Week is a nationwide event held each August that recognizes the successes of workplace safety and health programs and offers information on ideas on how to keep America's workers safe. Right, so develop your program, take a challenge, read the record. I'm right here on the website, OSHA.gov, Safe and Sound Week. So let's see, develop your program. Prepare your workplace for a Safe and Sound week by getting into a Safe and Sound mindset year-round. Okay, develop your program. All right, serious job-related injuries or illnesses just don't hurt workers and their families, but can hurt businesses in a variety of ways. Implementing a safety and health program, however, can improve small, medium-sized business safety and health performance, save money, and improve competitiveness. We do this. We've been doing this for an awful long time. Give us a call. We'll help you out there. So what do? Prevent workplace injuries and illnesses. That's a big one. Improve compliance. That's even important too, but not as important as preventing injuries and illnesses. Reduce costs, including significant reductions in workers' compensation premiums. Engage workers. Enhance social responsibility goals, and increase productivity and enhance overall business operations. The core elements of a workplace safety and health program include management leadership, worker participation, find and fix hazards. So, here we go. Challenges. Participate in challenges for each of the three core elements. Right, and they have different challenges. Safety Wall of Fame. Recognition programs motivate companies, teams, and people to work safely. Take 3 in 30. Take 3 actions in 30 days. Right? Choose from our list or pick one of your own. Right? Share in your workplace. Right? So your commitment to safety. Lead with safety. Maybe it's time again we revisit our leadership program here. And it goes on and on and on. Check on safety, eyes on safety, halt hazards, safety shuffle. What's the safety shuffle? That sounds like a song. A job swap offers a fresh... I never heard it called a safety shuffle. A job swap offers a fresh perspective for identifying hazards a person who routinely does the job might miss. So it's basically getting another person to look at your work area. That's always handy. I know when I worked in the refining industry, they had all different programs like that, right? Essentially to have people, cold eye audit with that. What are you missing? And what are you, because sometimes we would find things be like, man, that looks awfully dangerous there. Maybe, is there a better way of doing that? And so, well, that's what we always do. But you know what? Let's take a look at it. Some other stuff. They have a toolkit here. Celebrate excellence, recognize safety and health achievements, workplace safety and health quiz, Safe and Sound campaign trifold, and everything else. So if you're not empowered to do this on your own, talk to your management. Now, with that, this could be your way of shining. You come up with your own ideas, your own stuff. Hey, based on our audits, what are we seeing and everything else? Unlike the fall protection stuff, there's not a certificate at the end of the week for that, but you could probably go and, use that in your marketing program. So I know last year, one of the organizations that I work with had hey, this is how this project celebrated Safe and Sound Week, where we did X, Y, and Z, and we got rah, safety, that sort of thing going on that. And how handy is that? It's sort of like OSHA outreach training. Unless it's specifically required, what is the... required by a contract, what's the advantage of that? If you do get into an issue, either with OSHA or in some kind of litigation, or like our friend Jody Fisher on the PR podcast, you want to have good PR. Well, what do you mean good PR? Well, hey, prove to me that you're a safe company. Well, first of all, how do you define safe? All right, number one. Number two is, look, we participate in all these programs and everything else. We have sent people out for OSHA outreach training, which we supply here, by the way. We do 1,000,001 things here to promote safety here, and real safety, not the window dressing stuff where my problem, and I'm hoping that we go over this on Monday here with this. That's one of the reasons why I'm looking forward to attending the program down in Orlando is
clear as to just how much this latest round, what it means for the ceasefire. It could, though, be the greatest test the president's gone through thus far.
Marine Le Pen's declared she will run for the French presidency in 2027, despite a Paris appeals court upholding her conviction for embezzling European Union funds. The court handed the hard-right leader a 3-year jail term, 2 of them suspended, and ordered her to wear an electronic monitoring tag, but reduced her ban from public office to just 15 months. Peter Allen, a reporter in Paris, says Le Pen stunned observers with her announcement live on TV.
She absolutely amazed everybody. She appeared on live television, and everybody thought she was going to hand her candidacy to a young man called Jordan Bardella of the National Rally Party. Why? Because a few hours earlier she had been definitively convicted of embezzlement by the Paris Appeal Court.
In the UK, the governing Labour Party and opposition Conservatives and Liberal Democrats say they will not stand in a by-election being triggered by Nigel Farage. The Reform UK leader is resigning as an MP to stand in a by-election in Clacton. He says it's a fight against the establishment and denies any wrongdoing as allegations swirl about his financial arrangements and donors. Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper says Nigel Farage is having a political tantrum.
This is a political stunt, isn't it? And it's like Nigel Farage has just decided, well, the normal rules in politics that say, do you know what, if you get millions of pounds in donations, you need to declare it because, frankly, everybody needs to know there's not something dodgy going on. They need to know whether or not, who it's come from, whether there's any conditions, what is going on, because that is just about the normal rules of politics and it's what the public have a right to know.
The UK says it's leading a $50 billion project to build a new long-range missile to protect Europe. London's making the announcement at the NATO summit in Ankara, along with 11 allies. From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, looking today in more detail at the defeat suffered by Prince Harry, Elton John and several other high-profile figures in their efforts to hold Britain's Daily Mail accountable for what they claimed was unlawful information gathering and invasion of privacy. On Tuesday, the country's High Court ruled against them, saying they needed to bring more convincing evidence in order to secure a legal win. Steve Kuncevich is a media lawyer, partner, and head of creative, digital and media at law firm Glazier's ETL.
They were serious allegations that included phone hacking, but also lots of other what was referred to as unlawful means for gathering private information. And there were serious allegations. Unfortunately, in this particular case, they went back to worse serious evidence, which is why the judge didn't find for any of the allegations that Prince Harry brought. So it's a pretty comprehensive defeat at this stage. Prince Harry's referred to the case as a whitewash. He's entitled to his view. It's not one that I agree with because, again, there was the evidence was tested, witnesses were cross-examined, and this was not a case that failed on a procedural point. They really did have their opportunity to test their claims in court. The more serious the allegation, the more robust the evidence needs to be, and it just simply wasn't there here.
Prince Harry and the other claimants are now facing estimated legal bills totaling £50 million after bringing the case. All of their claims were dismissed. Dozens of journalists and private investigators had been named in the case. I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, Iran says it's launched missiles and drones at 85 American military sites across Bahrain and Kuwait in response to American strikes. Marine Le Pen's declared she will run for the French presidency next year. In the UK, the Labour Party, the Conservatives and Lib Dems say they won't stand in a by-election being triggered by Nigel Farage, and the UK says it's leading a $50 billion project to build a new long-range missile to protect Europe. That's the latest feature story news. Ollie Barrett reporting.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of toy. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
You've seen the loop. You've felt the shift. The script doesn't fit anymore, and neither do you. Safety transmission. The collapse of the construct is the third and final signal in the trilogy from J. Allen, PhD. And this time, it's not about waking up. It's about what you do once you're awake. The system didn't break. It just stopped pretending to hold you. And now it's blinking, rebranding presence, packaging resistance, and calling it progress. This book isn't a guide. It's a transmission. It doesn't teach the system how to evolve. It shows you how to stop performing for it. You'll see what happens when awareness becomes responsibility, when audits don't listen, and when leadership becomes a loop. But if you've made it this far,
that's our opening.
You're not here to be managed. You're here to carry signal, safety transmission, the collapse of the construct. Now available in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by J. Allen, PhD. Because if it couldn't hold your signal, it was never.
Wednesday night, speaking at the NATO
summit. We're going to start
that
over again. Sorry,
Iran's Revolutionary Guard has retaliated against American forces. From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Kate Fisher. US President Donald Trump has declared the ceasefire with Iran over and threatened to hit the country very hard again on Wednesday night, speaking at the NATO summit in Ankara. Iran's Revolutionary Guard has retaliated against American forces, launching missiles and drones at US military facilities in Bahrain and Kuwait, while the US military struck more than 80 targets across southern Iran on Wednesday. A former senior member escalating air campaign will never be enough on its own to end the conflict. Here is Robert Wilkie.
I'm a retired Air Force colonel. There's no war since there. The only thing it can do is set the table for victory. And that there are 80 million of the 90 million Iranians who want the mullah that the mullah population down.
NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte says the alliance's Ankara summit is Donald Trump throwing the gathering into disarray by ordering a halt to all American trade with Spain and renewing his claims on Greenland. President Trump called Madrid a terrible partner for refusing to raise its defence spending to 5% of GDP. Stuart Smith reports from Ankara.
There was trepidation amongst NATO leaders as Donald Trump started Wednesday's summit with criticism of NATO allies, notably Denmark suggesting that the US was still interested in annexing Greenland, and also for Spain, which is the only NATO ally of the 32 that has not promised to increase its proportion of GDP spent on defence to 5%. It's staying around 2%. So Donald Trump suggested that he would try to cut trade ties with Spain and that there would be political repercussions. Now, that's not possible. Spain's part of the single market of the European Union.
Meanwhile, as NATO leaders pledged new military assistance for Ukraine, Kyiv launched its largest drone attack on Moscow in 2 years, with more than 430 drones targeting the Russian capital and surrounding regions. Dasha Chernyshova reports from Moscow.
The MOD says more than 400 Ukrainian drones were intercepted over different parts of Russia over the course of this past night, most notably in the Rostov region. The air raid sirens were on all night long. In the Taganrog Bay, 2 tankers have been hit by the Ukrainian drones. They were not carrying any oils. We're also hearing about the major attack against the Saratov region. 1 person got killed there and 2 others got injured in the Tatarstan region. So the attacks are persistent.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, looking today in more detail at the defeat suffered by Prince Harry, Elton John and several other high-profile figures in their efforts to hold Britain's Daily Mail accountable for what they claimed was unlawful information gathering and invasion of privacy. On Tuesday, the country's High Court ruled against them, saying they needed to bring more convincing evidence in order to secure a legal win. Steve Kuncevich is a media lawyer, partner and head of creative digital and media at law firm Glaziers ETL.
They were serious allegations that included phone hacking, but also lots of other what was referred to as unlawful means for gathering private information. And there were serious allegations. Unfortunately, in this particular case, they weren't backed up by serious evidence, which is why the judge didn't find for any of the allegations that Prince Harry brought. So it's a pretty comprehensive defeat at this stage. Prince Harry's referred to the case as a whitewash. He's entitled to his view. It's not one that I agree with because, again, there was the evidence was tested, witnesses were cross-examined, and this was not a case that failed on a procedural point. They really did have their opportunity to test their claims in court. The more serious the allegation, the more robust the evidence needs to be, and it just simply wasn't there here.
Prince Harry and the other claimants are now facing estimated legal bills totalling £50 million after bringing the case. All of their claims were dismissed. Dozens of journalists and private investigators had been named in the case. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
Our main news again. US President Donald Trump has declared the ceasefire with Iran over and threatened to hit the country very hard again on Wednesday night. NATO Secretary-General Mark Rutte says the alliance's Ankara summit has shown the bloc is more together than ever. And Ukraine has launched its largest drone attack on Moscow in 2 years. That's the latest feature story news. Kate Fisher reporting.
Thank you very much, Kate. What else we got here? No, I got to put the commercials back on here.
Safety Wars. Tomorrow's Safety Today.
Try that again.
You are listening to Safety Wars. Tomorrow's Safety Today.
Now, we have not talked about the Health and Human Services, any of the press releases or anything that are issued out there. Again, we go to the primary sources on a lot of this stuff. And I've been keeping an eye. When Keith Sonderling, I did a little bit of a deep dive when his testimony is going to be scheduled for the U.S. Senate confirmation hearings because he's the president nominated him for a bump up. Right now he's acting Secretary of Labor. They want to make him the actual Secretary of Labor. So we will be keeping an eye on those. Now, this is from HHS.gov, and I have to say this. Some of this stuff I agree with, some of it I don't. With their government press releases, where we try to go to primary sources here. We're trying not to be filtered. We're trying not to manipulate you like everybody else. That's not what we're here for. It's manipulation. So let me go and share this with you. Secretary Kennedy, Administrator Oz, launched Make Hospital Food Healthier pledge. Yeah. I know people who would really appreciate this in the VA health system. Washington, and it's from today, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the CDC, Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS, they launched the Make Hospital Food Healthier pledge. Man, what else? Everything is make, right? Make America great. Make hospital food healthier, right? A nationwide initiative inviting hospitals to serve healthier, more nutritious meals. You think that would be common sense? The voluntary pledge encourages hospitals to use highly processed foods and prioritize nutrient-dense options that align with the dietary guidelines for Americans, reinforcing the critical role of nutrition in improving patient health, supporting recovery, and promoting long-term wellness. You would think this would be common sense, but I'm going to comment on it. I have to comment on this when I'm done here. Patients recovering from serious medical conditions deserve better than ultra-processed and deep-fried junk foods, said Robert F. Kennedy. President Trump has directed HHS to put real food at the center of American health and also, by the way, help out American farmers. Today, I said that, right? Today, we're challenging hospitals across the country to lead by example by serving nutritious, minimally processed meals to help patients heal, reduce chronic illness, and make America healthy again. When it comes, and this is from Mehmet Oz, when it comes to managing chronic illness, reducing comorbidities like obesity, and shortening recovery times, a healthy diet can make all the difference. I'm grateful to President Trump for his leadership in putting nutrition and prevention at the center of America's health agenda. Hospitals should nourish patients. Wow, isn't that a novel concept? With the same commitment they bring to every other aspect of care. That's why we're challenging hospitals to limit ultra-processed foods, feature nutritious meals, etc., etc., etc. Commitment to right, there's 5 things. Limit ultra-processed foods and sugar-sweetened beverages. Use baked, broiled, roasted, stir-fried, or grilled cooking methods instead of deep frying. Limit processed meats and foods high in added sugars, sodium, and artificial additives. Emphasize whole grains over refined grains. Prioritize minimally processed proteins, including plant options. In March, CMS Administrator Dr. Oz reminded hospitals that Medicare requires them to meet each patient's individual nutritional needs. Boy, you know, this is what I'm going to tell you to do. This is right off of, right, and I'm going to copy this page. I'm going to share this on social media here. Pardon me. Because I tell you what, again, I said I'm going to comment. I have to comment on this. So, when my father was going through rehab, right, he had a lot of health problems towards the end of his life. We had him in rehab. We had him in hospital. He was diabetic. And what do you think they were giving him to eat as a diabetic? What do you think? Because I had it out with the dietitian there. It was lasagna, heaping portions of pasta, carbohydrate-dense food. They said, well, I'm a dietitian. I know what I'm doing. I said, your food choices are not in line with the American Diabetes Association diet here for diabetics. Yeah, but it's a carbohydrate consistent diet. I was like, okay, are you doing this so you could charge us an arm and a leg for insulin? Because that's what you're going to have to do. Well, what do you mean? I said, well, this is what we have here. He's incapable at this point. He's like incapacitated because of his illnesses for this. And you're giving him pasta, rice, oatmeal, all these high carbohydrates, and then you're saying, Mr. Posel, your blood sugar is so high, we must give you more insulin. And believe me, I'm not against insulin. Insulin is probably, it ranks up right up there with chlorinated water and the discovery of fire and everything else. All right, so don't get me wrong that I'm against insulin. But the thing is, right, they tell you with a diabetic diet, and I'm not a doctor, I'm just giving peer-to-peer advice and everything. I was like, you got to be out of your friggin' mind, people. Well, no, and I have another family member that's dealing with this also, right? Diabetic, and what do? Oh, well, he's in a long-term care facility, and guess what? Oh, we're giving him this, or giving them that, they don't really have a choice on what to eat there at the facility. They're giving them, guys are diabetic, uncontrolled diabetes. They're giving them like chocolate cake and stuff. Really? Well, he doesn't have to eat it. I was like, dude, really? You're giving them all these choices? It's just unconscionable what they give as in a lot of these facilities. Who you would think would know better? It was very, very frustrating to me. I'm not a doctor. I'm not playing a nutritionist on here. It's just, I could see why they have to have a program for this. And you would think, well, you're in a hospital, you get healthy food, right? You get blah, 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 blah. No, that ain't the way it works, folks. Again, be an advocate for your family member, right? Be an advocate for that person. So I don't know what this is. Sam Hussa, that's an acronym, announces more than $280 million in funding opportunities to address addiction, overdose, and mental illness, promote recovery. The Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration is from July 6, Monday. A division within the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, they announced more than $281 million in funding opportunities for 15 grant programs. The Investments will advance President Trump's Great American Recovery Initiative by expanding access to a wide range of behavioral health services, including substance use disorder treatment, overdose prevention and response, mental health and suicide prevention, trauma-informed care, integrated care, recovery supports, first responder training, and privacy and education workforce. President Trump's Great American Recovery Initiative is putting recovery into action, said HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. We are investing more than $281 million through 15 grant programs. Again, here we go. I won't go through all of them here. But basically, everything I just said here, right? So you have National Child Traumatic Stress Initiative, Project Aware, medication-assisted treatment, and everything else. I mean, this is a good thing here. I mean, we do realize the issue in our society with mental health and everything else. A really important issue here. This is from July 1st. HHS and FDA commend DEA action against dangerous enhanced 7-OH products. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the U.S. FDA today commended the Drug Enforcement Administration's issuances of 2 notices of intent to begin the temporary scheduling process for certain kratom-related substances. I know people who made a boatload of money on this stuff, multi-millions of dollars. Here, one notice of intent addresses temporary placement of 7-OH above the specified threshold on Schedule 1, while the second would temporarily place 3 synthetic 7-OH derivatives into Schedule 1. And unless the thing. So, basically, this is a quote from Secretary Robert Kennedy. I commend the DEA for taking decisive action to address these addictive and harmful substances. Here with this. These actions are not intended to regulate natural leaf kratom that does not contain enhanced levels of 7-OH. Although 7-OH occurs naturally in trace amounts in the kratom plant, scheduling 7-OH above a certain threshold level does not intend to capture the kratom botanical leaf present temporary scheduling recommendation. Again, kratom, big business out there, right? It's along the lines of where medical marijuana was about 15 years ago with this, except it's legal. HHS Secretary Kennedy signs COVID-19 emergency use authorization declaration terminations. This is a big one here, folks. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services today announced that Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has signed determinations terminating the COVID-19 emergency use authorization declarations for drugs and biological products and for medical devices, concluding that the circumstances that justify these emergency authorities no longer exist. Americans deserve a regulatory system that is transparent, accountable, and rooted in the rule of law, said Kennedy. By ending these COVID-19 emergency use authorization declarations, we're reinforcing public confidence that emergency authorities are temporary and targeted. The terminations will take effect following advance notice periods to ensure an orderly transition. The declaration for drugs and biological products will terminate 12 months after the Secretary's determination. COVID-19, no, that's really not important here, but here it is. The COVID-19 EUA declarations, emergency use authorization, were first issued in 2020 to enable rapid access to medical products during the pandemic. Since then, the public health landscape has changed substantially. FDA approved, cleared, and licensed products are now widely available through traditional regulatory pathways. Reliance on EUA products has declined, and manufacturers have had years to prepare for a transition from emergency authorities. The advance notice periods are designed to provide everyone adequate time to transition away from products authorized solely under the EUA. It does not give a list of what those are here. So, if you know, you know. Now, this was out of Atlantic City, New Jersey, on June 29th. Secretary Kennedy restores the presidential fitness test and launches the Get Kids Active campaign. U.S. Department of, blah, 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 and join more than 75 children at the Boys and Girls Club Atlantic City. I know where that is. To officially kick off the return of the presidential fitness test and launch the getactive.gov Kids. Pardon me. Students completed presidential fitness test exercise alongside Secretary Kennedy. Apparently, he recovered from the shoulder situation there. Congressman Jeff Van Drew and WWE superstars making the beginning of a nationwide effort to get America's kids moving as part of President Trump's, here's another one, Make America Healthy Again, Baja, agenda. More than 6 years ago, my uncle, President John F. Kennedy, had challenged America to make physical fitness a national priority because he understood that the strength of our nation begins with the health of our people, said Secretary Kennedy. Today, President Trump is restoring that vision by bringing back the presidential fitness test and launching getactive.gov/kids. We are giving parents, schools, and communities the tools to help children build healthy habits, strengthen their bodies, and discover what they're capable of achieving. America's children are facing chronic disease crisis. Nearly 1 in 5 children is overweight or obese. 75% of young Americans are ineligible. 77% of young Americans are ineligible for military service, with poor health and physical fitness among leading reasons. That's why HHS is helping families, schools, communities make physical activity and healthy habits part of everyday life. This summer, HHS is partnering with the Boys and Girls Club of America, WWE, and community organizations nationwide to help children get active and prepare for the presidential fitness test. Beginning this fall, schools across the country will administer the presidential fitness test using updated age-appropriate standards and measure strength, endurance, and everything else. So, again, I mean, this is Jimmy's opinion here. Jimmy's opinion is this. This is a consequence of these friggin' things. Right here, I'm holding up a smartphone. That is what and everything else. Get away from the electronics. Go out there. Shut off. I mean, I have a policy. Me and Jay Allen were talking about this a couple of weeks ago. I have a policy Saturday. Basically, when this microphone and this computer shut down on Friday, it doesn't go up again until Sunday sometime. I mean, I recently attended a session with a presentation with a workplace health specialist. All right. Well, this person helps you, helps your company manage like the workers' stress, different programs they have and things. And she was talking about burnout. And basically, I did not realize this. Me, of all people, did not realize this. Right? Burnout is actually a neurological situation where your nerves are actually damaged. And it's important, right? And this goes into, as I understand it, PTSD and some of those other situations out there where you're overstimulated. And these devices don't help things, help that. And basically, what it comes down to, and I'm getting a message right here from a family member, there's no electricity in Lodi, New Jersey. But basically, people are on overload. They can't function. So I've made it a deliberate point that we are not, I have downtime every day. I have no electronics, no nothing. I go out. Go for a walk. Yeah, I'll bring my phone, but that's about it. I'm not on the phone.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.